Ladies, welcome to the Feminine Mystery. My name is Azalea Dawn, and on my channel we talk about leveling up femininity and everything you need to attract the right hypergamous relationship for you. So if any of that sounds interesting, please check out the rest of the videos on my channel, subscribe if you like it, and if you're joining me here again, welcome back. I'm so thrilled to have you. Today's topic is all about making a feminine first impression, right? So when we want to go out into the world and engage with other people, it's very important that we appear feminine even at a glance. We really want to make sure that we're setting the right tone in all of our relationships going forward and being mindful of the image that we portray to others. So being feminine in that first impression, making sure that it's something that is flattering, right? That when people think of you, when they see you, and when they are making their initial judgments, because at the end of the day, like, God can judge what's on the inside, but other people, they only get what's on the outside. So you really want to make sure that what's on the outside is a good reflection of what is on the inside, right? You want to make sure that when you're out and about, what people are seeing is an accurate, a purposeful, and a flattering reflection of you. And therefore, you want to make sure that your, inside is really being reflected in the best way on the outside, as I've been saying here. So I guess this is getting a bit redundant. So let's get into it a little bit more. We're going to be talking about things, both outer things and inner things, to make sure that you have, aligned in order to give the most flattering first impression possible. First things first, literally always wear good shoes. Now, this is something that seems like it's a little bit like seriously, like, are you really talking about like the shoes that I'm wearing? Yes. The shoes that you're wearing are so important, because you really have to think about this if you're a person who maybe isn't so used to paying attention to the way that you are perceived by other people, right? If you're somebody who's not that, invested in your appearance, you probably don't notice this kind of thing the way that somebody else might. But a lot of people, when they are first meeting you, or they're first, looking at people or just getting to know about them, they look at people's shoes, right? Like, I'm completely serious about this. Like, a lot of people, like, if you just, sit in a cafe for a few hours and, watch people, watch how they interact, like, watch people who don't know each other meet each other for the first time. Like, if you're not in the interaction and you can just watch that happening with other people, one of the things that you're going to notice is that people will look another person, like, up and down, and their eyes will kind of linger at the shoes, because it's a natural sort of like end point. People will kind of like they'll look down, they'll linger for a little bit, and then they'll look back up and resume eye contact. A lot of people also who are like a little bit more shy or something like that, they also like look at people's shoes, because it's a place it's a little bit easier for them to look than into another person's eyes so consistently. So point is, a lot of people look at your shoes. I actually did make the mistake, like, once upon a time, back in the day. I think I might have been in college, or just like at the tail end of like my undergraduate degree, and I was meeting a bunch of so that would have been like in my master's, but I was meeting some prospective students at the university that I was going to. So we all went to this place that was for like a bit of like a dinner, like a get together. So I show up, and the server hostess, she comes up and she's just like, oh, like, you're very dressed up, you look so nice, like maybe you're like looking for this other restaurant. And I'm like, no, I'm looking for this one. So I just like sit down, and like obviously like I'm dressed very well, but the issue was with my shoes. I was wearing these shoes that were just completely just torn up. They were so comfortable. I loved those shoes, but they did not look good, even though the rest of my outfit looked good. So all of these people like showed up, and like we're just like standing together and we're talking, and everybody collectively is like standing in a circle, and like somebody like makes a comment, and everybody just like looks down at each other's like shoes, and I'm just standing there like cringed out. Oh my goodness, everybody is like looking at my tattered up old shoes with like this glamorous outfit. And then I went back immediately, threw those shoes away, and never wore them again. So like the moral of the story is, like, people really are going to look at your shoes, and you don't want to be in a social interaction where everybody is wearing, these nice sort of shoes standing around you, and you're the one in these like tattered, old, worn out looking shoes. You want to make sure that your shoe game is on point. and that your shoes are something that is appropriate for a feminine lady, right? Think about things that are a little bit more elegant and they're also appropriate for the occasion and they're in good condition, right? So just make sure that you're always wearing good shoes, especially when you're making a first impression. Now, the next thing to keep in mind is to only share positive things with people that you don't know. Now, I think that it does get a little bit into that, like that move in silence territory, that you don't want to like share your upcoming plans with other people. I still do think that that's true. But what I would want to encourage you to do is to not just like immediately go into sharing all of like the negative or bad things that are going on with you with other people, especially people that you really don't know. Because you don't want to seem like that person who like is always like a down on their luck, like they're a day late and a penny short. They just don't have, like whatever they need to have to get through life, and it's like you're just kind of like bad vibes, like bad things are always happening to you, you're always going through something, you're always like suffering in some way. Like people don't like to be around somebody like that, because at the end of the day, like you're just kind of like sucking away like other people's energy, like you're just kind of like, I don't know, like a cloud on a sunny day. People don't really want that. Like people don't really want you to like rain on their parade, so to speak. So like when you are just meeting people, especially, like you want to make a habit of like having some things that you can talk about that maybe the two of you have in common. Maybe you're kind of like exploring what your common hobbies or common people in your life or something like that, just like some commonality between the two of you. And you want to make sure that you're keeping the topic relatively like upbeat, right? And making sure to like talk positively, talk good about the things that are happening to you, talk good about the things that are happening to other people that you have in common, and make sure that you're bringing like positivity and light into the situation, because you don't want to be the person who is like known as like the dark, damp, like little like rain cloud that just like floats around like coming towards other people. That really is going to go like a very long way in your reputation, in the positive if you can be more upbeat, but it also goes a long way in the negative if you don't, get that together. Next, you want to be ready to talk about your background. See, I said I was going to talk about some things on the outside, but we're also going to be talking about the inside, right? When it comes to your background, you don't want to be that person who's kind of like everybody is like saying like, oh, like where they went to school, what they do, like how they spend their time, blase, 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 like they have all of these accomplishments, and then you're just kind of like sitting there and like mum is the word. You don't have anything to say for yourself. You really want to make sure that you have something to say when you're meeting new people that highlights the best of your past, essentially. Like it highlights the best of how, like it's the best version of how you got to be where you are today. So if you are somebody who has had an education, like especially if you've gone to college, maybe you have like a bachelor's, a master's, a PhD, I don't know, but like whatever your education is, that's something that you want to talk about and highlight. If you've taken any sort of professional courses, you want to highlight that. If you've maybe just had, like professional accomplishments outside of education, like you are somebody who successfully hosted like this or that event in your city, or you have, been involved in the planning of this, like that's the kind of thing that you want to bring forward in this kind of situation. But you want to make sure that you have something to say about your background that kind of like explains to people like how you got to be in a space where you are successful enough to be meeting them in the first place. Because especially when you're networking with more affluent people and you're kind of getting yourself out there, like you don't want to be somebody who's just kind of like shady, like somebody who you don't really want to say where you're from, you don't really want to say like like what you do for work, or like where you're, like any sort of like detail about your background, because honestly a lot of the times like the things that people are gonna like fill the blank in with are worse than the truth, right? If you are somebody who is just kind of like self-conscious, like, oh, I didn't go to this like fancy college, okay, but you still went to college, and like that is something that's worth talking about. You don't want somebody like inventing some idea that you were some kind of like a quote-unquote dancer or escort or something like that, or from some country somewhere, and just kind of like showing up. Like you don't want to be somebody who has like a mysterious background and seems like they're hiding something. So make sure that you have, like things that you're ready to talk about as far as your background with new people that are highlighting the best version of you. Now, finally, ladies, this one is so important, and that is to remember that all things work together. Now, I understand that it might be tempting to, kind of like fake it till you make it, right? In this day and age, like, Instagram and stuff like that, it makes it seem like everybody has an Hermes bag, everybody has like a Birkin, a Kelly, everybody somehow is like getting a quota bag, like a $20,000 bag, as if like the Hermes store is like handing them out like candy, like that is not a reflection of reality, however. And it can seem like very tempting to kind of like fake the funk, like fake it till you make it, like, oh, like I want to look like I'm rich and successful, like maybe I should get, like this fake bag, this replica bag, this whatever they're calling it now, a link in bio kind of bag. And I've even seen that like a bit like on YouTube, like I've seen ladies do, like these unboxings of like Chanel bags, but like the Chanel bag is obviously fake. I mean, I'm not trying to be like catty or shady, but like if you actually shop at the Chanel boutique, then you would know first and foremost, like classic bags, like they come with like black tissue paper, and the tissue paper like inside the bag is like hand pleated. So like literally in the store, like the sales associates, like they hand pleat the tissue paper to make like a bed for the bag, and that's like how they give it to you, like literally. So it's like, I don't know, like as soon as like somebody's opening up the box, like half the time I'm like, that's a fake bag. But that's besides the point. I think that when you are in a position where like you're even considering like getting a fake bag, the jig is already up. And that's what you need to remember. It's like things have to make sense in the broader context of your life. So if you are somebody who like, yeah, you have like this like, I don't know, like fake, like replica, like whatever, like Chanel bag, yeah, okay, great. Like you look like you have like a $5,000 bag, but like why does it make sense for you to be wearing like a $5,000 bag and then like get into a Honda? Why does it make sense for you to own like a $5,000 bag, but like you drive like a Toyota Camry? Like I'm not trying to be like shady if like you own like these sorts of like cars. I think that, like there's a reason so many people drive Hondas. Those cars last forever. But it does not make sense that somebody who is like buying Chanel would be driving that kind of car. Like all things work together. So just understand that like people understand the broader context of your life, and you can't like fake that. People know what you do for work. People know where you live. People know how you live half the time. And they're just not going to buy it if you suddenly like show up and you have a quote unquote like Chanel bag. Like it's just, it doesn't work like that. So I honestly think that if you're very early in your level up, I would skip the fake bags altogether, because like if you're in a position where you're considering a fake bag, it's not going to make sense for you to have a fake bag in the context of the rest of your life. You want to go and look at the video that I made about affordable alternatives to luxury handbags, and like go and pick one of those bags. Like it would be much better for you to have something that's real from maybe like a Pull-In or a Tory Burch that just makes sense, right, for you in the context of your life and like looks more respectable. Now, ladies, that's going to be it for me. If you've enjoyed this video and you're not like too triggered by that like little fake bag rant, I'm not here to cast aspersions, but if you've enjoyed like the rest of this video, besides that maybe, go ahead and give it a like below and check out the rest of the videos on my channel. I talk all about leveling up, femininity, hypergamy, and attracting a masculine provider that's right for you. So if any of those topics interest you, then this is the right channel for you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.